Now, as we mentioned, what we're calling logical connectedness, or authors call logical connectedness, is an important component in making something rationally acceptable. That is, making an argument rationally acceptable. And here's an example to kind of illustrate what we're talking about. You hear people nowadays say, that smoking is linked to early lung cancer argues against smoking. That is a good argument or a good reason to not smoke, is that smoking is linked to early lung disease, that is, lung disease before its normal time. So there's a certain connection between early lung disease and smoking, and as a result, you should not smoke. So there's some kind of connectedness, there's some kind of gluing the two together. Well, let's consider a few examples which will help us get a more refined notion of what logical connectedness is. Think of this example. Florida is on the Gulf of Mexico. Any state on the Gulf of Mexico has mild winters. Therefore, Florida has mild winters. And we could go through the exercise of asking you to figure out what the premises are, what the conclusion is, but I think at this point it's kind of obvious. But we see that this kind of argument makes the conclusion rationally acceptable, and if it does, the conclusion is rationally acceptable in part because there's a certain connection between the premises and the conclusion. Another example, Florida has mild winters, and so do Hawaii and Texas. Therefore, most U.S. states have mild winters. Again, if the argument's good, there has to be a good connection, a good logical connection between the premises there and the conclusion. And finally, Florida is a subtropical state on the Gulf of Mexico. Therefore, computers have replaced typewriters. Now, if this is a good argument, we need to have a connection between a good logical connection, good logical glue between those premises and that conclusion. And let's take a look a little bit at the logical connectedness that is exhibited by number 2, number 3, and number 4.